Good Tuesday to everybody. Thanks for clicking on to the European Outlook for today. It is the 24th of September, and we certainly have got a very active weather pattern at the moment. We've seen historic rainfall in the last several days. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail in another video because unfortunately I'm extremely tight for time due to having to rush out for work. I had a few commitments this afternoon as well that kind of took up a little bit of time, so this is a very abbreviated video today, I'm afraid. So, but yeah, we're going to be looking through the middle and second half of this week at the weak polar vortex that we've got at the moment. Some interesting things being said by a few experts, including Dr. Judah Cohen, and it's something that I really wanted to look at. There's a little bit of conflicting aspects with regards to the La Nina West QBO and the negative NAO signal. The band Julian oscillation at the moment here is favourable for high latitude block, and we're seeing that at the moment, forcing the jet further south. We've got the Arctic air mass that is moving southwards as we move, particularly so we've got Arctic air now moving into the northern UK, but as these systems move from east to west, we are going to open the door to Arctic air driving south right the way down over the UK. It may be a short-lived wave of cold air, but it looks as if there is some model agreement that we are going to see a kind of persistency due to that block over Greenland, a feed of northerly air moving into the UK and Ireland as we step out of September and into the month of October. If you're new to the channel, a very warm welcome to you. If you're an existing viewer, thanks for sticking on here. I'm certainly striving to provide as unbiased, unhyped weather content here on YouTube. I know sometimes it's easy to get sucked into hype. We do have now newly formed tropical storm Helene. The system is slowly getting its act together. Pressure at the centre of the circulation is slowly falling, and there is very good model agreement that this system is going to become a major hurricane as we move towards Wednesday. I actually put out a tweet slightly incorrectly to my frustration because I try to avoid misinformation and poor, inaccurate information. But I actually said in last night's tweet that this system would be a hurricane by tomorrow. I actually got mixed up in days thinking that tomorrow, yesterday I'm talking about, was actually Wednesday. So I was slightly a day early in terms of making a couple of statements and tweets last night. So I do apologise for that because I am trying to provide as much accuracy as possible. But NHC does have this as a hurricane as we move towards 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning. And then the system moves right along the loop current. We've got as high a ocean heat content as you're ever really going to see in this part of the world. And it looks as if it's going to run that ribbon of exceptional warmth, not just at the surface, but down to great depths below as well. The shear is going to reduce within this region as it moves along, and therefore you've got almost perfect ocean and atmospheric conditions for this system to become likely a major. If not, we may even be looking at a Category 4 or above here. So trying to not hype this up, but the potential is very much there for something really quite major coming to Florida here and even the southeastern half of the United States. But I'm going to do a separate video. If I don't get the chance to do one tonight, it'll be some point tomorrow. So anyway, the UK, we've got that polar vortex continuing to remain very weak. Record or near record levels for the month of September. We'll talk about that in a lot more detail in a video in the coming days. But we do certainly have a very active storm track pushed to the south, cold air driving south as well. If we play through the latest loop here, obviously we've seen 2 months worth of rainfall and within a day or two across parts of the Midlands. Epic flooding to say the least, and it looks as if we're going to continue to see this very active pattern as we press through the middle and second half of this week. But all the while, with that block across Greenland, low pressure over Scandinavia, bringing heavy snowfall to mid and high ground of Norway, possibly Sweden as well. But notice here, if you look at the lines of equal pressure, the isobars, they're coming down from the north here. These areas of low pressure are essentially getting forced south due to the push of air coming in from the Arctic. Now, obviously, I say Arctic. We're still in September. It's not a midwinter level cold by any stretch, but for the time of the year, this is quite unusual to see. Not one, but also two waves of Arctic air pushing southwards with an exceptionally strong block for the month of September. Springtime and autumn time, it does tend to be a blocky pattern from a climatological point of view, but the block that we're seeing at the moment is very, very strong for the time of year. And you notice here that we've got this mess as we move from Wednesday into Thursday here, area of low pressure, quite a large envelope. It's not like a tightly wound up system. So it will be windy, it will be very wet. There's going to be spells of longer rain, which is going to just worsen the flood situation that we've already seen in parts of Midland England, for example. But notice here that as this system kind of then trundles its way eastwards, we're opening the door to northerly winds getting driven south. Looks as if Friday is going to be a particularly cold day across the UK by late September standards. If we look at the 850 temperatures here, you can see the air mass that we're dealing with here. We've got temperatures that are going to be approaching -5 Celsius at 5,000 feet over the Northern Isles, the far north mainland, and then obviously sub-zero 850s all the way down to the south coast, even extending into the north of France here. Then we've got higher pressure that tries to build in. Could have a particularly cold night with clear skies, lighter winds, and that cold air mass in place. But generally speaking, days are going to be cold, the nights are going to be cold as well. And then we see this continuation of this kind of tight thermal gradient in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere here, creating that strong jet. And then that strong jet obviously provides deepening low pressure systems. So we see this kind of discharge of Arctic air into the pattern. Then we see areas of low pressure moving in from the west. That kind of pulls something a little bit milder from the subtropics into the pattern. We're seeing this, this winding up of conflicted air masses, which allows the deepening of the low itself, especially when it's to the north side of the jet here. We see the greatest lift within the atmosphere, but that's a bona fide area of low pressure by the time we reach the early portions of next week here. Go back to the overview chart, you can see that they're at 979 millibars. That is quite a low for sure that is going to be over the UK. Then we have more cold air. We're still seeing that connection from the Arctic into the UK as these lows, especially when they pull away to the east here. So this is a very active, unsettled, very negative North Atlantic oscillation pattern, and we are going to see some cold days, cold nights, wet, windy conditions. You've pretty much got everything that autumn has to offer in the rest of this work week. Looking at the GFS here, this is the temperatures for Inverness, and we've got a few days here where we're essentially the GFS, according to the raw model data, it's going to struggle to get above 10 Celsius for the best part of the rest of this week. This is the high seen by the model tomorrow, 9 Celsius. Then we've got 9.8, so just below 10 Celsius. On Friday, we've got an 8.4 for a maximum. On Saturday, we've got an 8.6. Then we start to see a little bit of a recovery into the low teens, it looks like here, by the time we reach Monday. Then, according to the GFS, we're back into colder conditions once again. That will probably be due to the passage of the next area of low pressure. So this is a fairly cold pattern for late September for sure. Overnight temperatures 3.8. Nothing major. I think the reason for that is cloud and wind is going to keep the temperatures up, especially over northern areas of the UK. I think until that area of higher pressure tries to maybe build in, we may see something of a colder night compared to what the models suggest. Looking at London here, 16 for today. Then we've got a high of only 14.5. Tomorrow on Thursday, 6.2. And on Friday, we're only at 11.1 Celsius for a maximum, which is pretty darn cold for late September. On Saturday, 13.5. Some of the overnight temperatures are impressive, given the urban nature of London. 6.7 for a minimum on Saturday morning, around 0700. So yes, like I said, a short short-lived video today, but be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Lots more to come through the remainder of this week, so stay tuned for that. And the tropics, we're going to be looking at Helene going forward as well. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. See you next time with more. Bye for now.